this is on the agenda today. We're looking at the shots that folks have taken of M16. I'm going to talk a little bit about something I'm very excited about, NGC 781, which is coming. We're going to actually, for the first time ever, talk about Lucky Imaging. Going to talk about some improvements that we've managed to get done. And then the BAT mods are going to say whatever they want to say. And then everyone can say whatever they want to say. Alrighty, let's do it. So first thing, have a look at some of these amazing M16 things that have that we've managed to get. So this was Techo, I think. What else have we got? This one was who was this? Stalker, maybe? Yeah, I think so. What else have we got? Oh, Charles, I believe. Telescope Boy did this one. Lot of detail in there. This was... Hey, come on. Gilly. Anyway, as you can see, really great. Really great. This is Hubble on the left. So we're not quite at Hubble standard yet. But we're not Lucky Imaging. And, you know, it's amazing, I think. Really encouraging. So, well done, everyone. That's fantastic. Now, what am I going to talk about? Well, I want to talk a little bit about the next target that's kind of rising up. And it's NGC 781. So 781, yeah, that's right. So hopefully I've got a shot of it here. Here it is. Now, I want to make a biscuit video about this. I think this target is going to be an amazing Lucky Imaging target. And the reason I think that is A, because it's high. It's high for most of us in the BAT. So, whoops, I didn't want that. What do I want? I want to show you where we are. So Lucin did this. This is where we are. As you can see, there's kind of like the little round splodges of people. I think we might have more round circles now because more people have told us where they are. But essentially, there's a band of us in the Northern Hemisphere. And NGC 781 goes right above us, really high, which is fantastic. So we're not going to look through so much atmosphere to shoot it. So that's one reason why it's going to be great for Lucky Imaging. Also, it's because it's a high contrast target. We've got this dark band across the middle. It's fairly bright, but it goes from bright to very dark and back again to bright quite sharply. There's a lot of contrast, and that means when we start to pull out detail using sharpening techniques, it should come out really nicely. So I'm super excited about this target, and the next clear night we have, I'm going to take Big Bertha out. Big Bertha's there. And I'm going to shoot it and I'm going to make a video about it. And the video is going to be like along the lines of, can we beat Hubble, right? Which we probably can't. But we might be able to get close with this target. And actually, I'm hoping that maybe, because one of the part of the story of the video is going to be, well, you'll see when I shoot it, right, and do Lucky Imaging, I'll show you in a moment, it's going to be an incredibly noisy image. And in order to sharpen it up, A, we need the thick paintbrush, right, for the really faint bits of the galaxy. But also we're going to need, like, a lot of other people shooting Lucky Imaging as well, right, in order to make it sharper. So in my dream, this next video is going to be me going somewhere like Devon or some campsite somewhere on my own, shooting NGC 781 and it being a bit pants because it's really noisy, and then a bunch of other people join me wherever I am, and then you guys in the States and in Germany and everywhere start joining in, and the video kind of snowballs and we have everyone shooting NGC 781, and in the end we have an amazing result. So that's kind of the dream. I'd love it if some people could join me. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be, and we don't know when either because I've got to wait for a clear sky.
Well, yeah. Just a
Yeah.
quick question. Is
Aye.
that really 781 or 891?
891. It's 891. Yes, I was just doing that to test people. I'm not dyslexic at all. So yeah, it's what is it again? Seven
891.
891. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No
Actually, that
worries.
must inspire everyone in the bat with extreme amount of confidence.
Just trying to find it on Google.
Yeah.
It was
891,
really
no
blurry.
problem.
This
I was looking
amazing.
at focal lengths of like 5,000 to even see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so yeah, good. I'm glad you're on the ball, Alex. That's good. Um, and you get there's something in the post coming to you. I was hoping someone would spot that. It wasn't a biscuit cock up at all. So I don't know when I'm going to shoot it, but maybe if someone knows of a campsite or somewhere like that where there's power, let me know. And if anyone else is around in the UK who can come and join me, then you'll be in the video, and that'll be amazing. And by the same token, if you're in the States or in anywhere else around the world and you're shooting it, please take a little video. And I know there's a bunch of you actually who are like in Arizona, I think. If you manage to hook it by some miracle, if you're able to all meet and shoot at the same place and video it, that would be amazing for the next Astro Biscuit video. I'm sure we'll get 500,000 views, so you will essentially be famous if you manage to shoot some of you yourselves shooting this target. All right, so next thing to talk about, are you feeling lucky? Because we've got this Lucky Imaging target coming. I've avoided talking about Lucky Imaging up until now because it was just really important that only folks who are able to get their scope to less than 3 arc seconds full width half maximum even bother with Lucky Imaging. I mean, it's just, it's sad for people who want to do Lucky Imaging who don't have a scope that's sharp enough. It's just there's no point in doing it if you don't. If the thing that's causing most blurriness in your telescope are the optics or the collimation, then Lucky Imaging will just make your shots worse. And as you'll see, Lucky Imaging makes shots worse anyway. So I'm just gonna let's pull up. So he's not able to be with us at the moment, but gosh, what's his name? Crazy physicist, something or other. Someone could help me. What's Mr. Crazy Physicist? I think his name might be.
Like that.
Mr. Crazy Physicist has been... Oh, okay, that shot there. I actually managed to shoot the Dumbbell Nebula with 1 second shots from London. Okay. This is... So we had a few... at the end of last meeting, it was clear outside, right? I was able to start doing some messing around with Lucky Imaging. I'll just tell you briefly what I did. It's more in a to give ideas about how you can test Lucky Imaging and how we're going to move forward with this. So firstly, I was able to shoot 1 second shots, and really we need to shoot half second shots to start having Lucky Imaging have a significant impact. Although it does have an impact with 1 second shots, even has an impact with 5 second shots. I was super amazed that I could shoot 1 second shots from London. I'm Bortle 9, right? When Arsenal score, I can hear the cheer. Yeah. I think the reason might be my camera is the ASI 2600, which has super low read noise. Anyway, when I go somewhere dark, I'm sure to be able to shoot half second intervals. This is fantastic. What filter, says Astro Bob. Right, so yes, in London, it's no good shooting just luminance. So I used a SDC duo band filter. So it's got about a 10 nanometer, 15 nanometer band pass around the HA, and similar, maybe a bit more around the O3. So I cut out a lot of the light pollution. Obviously, if I go somewhere dark, I'll probably try and shoot just with I'll just try and chop off the top end, the high frequency blue. So I'll just use a UV filter that I've got probably, because the high end the high frequency light gets dispersed or affected more by the atmospheric wobble. So when I go somewhere dark, I'll be shooting like half second. I shot 6,000 shots, right? 6,000 shots with that camera will fill up my computer. So rather than using Nina, I used a program that's most normally associated with shooting planets, so SharpCap, and I cut the frame size down. I didn't need the big frame size, so each shot was a few megabytes big rather than like 50 megabytes big. Processing it took days, literally days. I ended up processing 2,000 out of the 6,000, and I got a full width half maximum of, I don't know, 1.5 or something. And then I did just 500, and the full width half maximum was 10% better. But enough of me, because Mr. Crazy Physicist has been doing much more interesting stuff. If I can get his pictures on board. Come on. Lucky Imaging Test. Here we go. So this is Mr. Crazy Physicist. I believe he's in Germany. The top really noisy shot. I wonder if I can zoom in a bit. The top really noisy shot is Lucky Imaging, and if you look closely, you can see that he's using almost the same optics. So his C14, right? And with, I think this is 1 second shots or something like that. He's able to get the fine, faint little dust lane. So we've obviously got the big dust lane across the middle. But when he's Lucky Imaging, he's really able to pull out detail in those finer bits. And here we can see how this high contrast target is really doing us a lot of favours when it comes to fine detail. You can also see, when you compare it to the lower image, which wasn't Lucky Imaging, I mean, heads up, he actually used a slightly different optical system for this. He used the Hyperstar for the lower image. But just speaking in general, you can see how much more noise there is in the Lucky Imaging. Okay, but great test that he did, and then he went on to do some more. So this is the nice shot is it's like an 8-meter scope, Subaru HST. I actually don't know what the real name is. I'm just reading what he's put there. And then his C14, and the 8-meter scope, which presumably is a mile or two up in the atmosphere, somewhere we're seeing is amazing, does have slightly better sharpness, and it has a lot better signal to noise ratio. But it's still interesting that he's able to get so close, and this is a fantastic test. Here he stacks, top left, he stacks everything, and as he stacks less and less, the noise increases, but so does his full width half maximum of his stars. And at the end, he's able to get to just below 1 arc second. A terribly large amount of noise there, but 1 arc second full width half maximum. And that's shooting just 0.2% of the frames. So I think I went down to like stacking 10% of the frames, and it got like 10% better. But it seems like as you start really stacking fewer and being more and more picky with your frames, the benefits seem to increase, but of course so does the noise. So for this to work, we're going to need as many people as possible to be shooting. We need 100 people throwing away 99% of their data to get what you get with 100% of your data, if you see what I mean, in terms of noise. So it's a massive challenge, but we're going to go for it. So Astro, what camera again? Astro Bob, if you're able to talk, do you mean which camera was Mr. Crazy Physicist using? To be honest, I'm going to get Mr. Crazy Physicist in to chat about it next week because he's done such a fine job. Yes?
No, I meant what camera were you using on the shot that you showed us?
Yeah, so I was using the ASI 2600mm, which I believe has the IMX 571 sensor, which is the amazing sensor. I hope I've got that right. You know how good I am with numbers. You've already learned that. But that's also in the QHY 268, and it's in another one as well. It's a really low read noise camera.
That was on Bertha.
That was on Bertha, F6.3. Actually, f5.9 because I've got a 0.9 reducer on it. Yeah. So 1 second. I mean, amazing, isn't it? Interestingly, I don't need that huge sensor for Lucky Imaging. I'm cropping in anyway. So I would, there are cheaper sensors that have an extremely low read noise that are just not as big. And I mean, I'm very pleased I've got this camera, but if I was doing it more budgety, I would have gone for a smaller sensor camera. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly mention stacking as well. So obviously stacking makes a difference, and choosing fewer frames makes a difference. But I'm curious to know whether when I'm shooting, right, there's a wobble in the atmosphere, and in London the wobble was like, I'm just going off what the phone said. I have this app that tells me what the seeing is. So it's a bit of a leap of faith to suggest that what the seeing on my app says is how much full width half maximum blurriness I'm getting from the atmosphere. But anyway, if we just go along with that, then the 1.5 arc seconds of bad seeing that I've got is presumably going to make the stars wobble maybe about 1.5 arc seconds, which means when we're stacking, sometimes the star might be 1.5 pixels to the left or to the right. So I was just thinking, are there stacking programs that are able to divide the shot up? I think AutoStacker does it actually, and so that when we stack, we're able to get like the best subframes in each area of our shot, rather than having to deal with this little bit of wobble. I don't know, something to think about. And actually I chatted a while ago and the chap who wrote AutoStacker might be able to join us one day. Okay, I'm going to move on from that. I'm just going to quickly go. Actually, it sounds like you might have, maybe you've got some questions about that side of things. Should we just do that now, if we have any particular questions? On the beginnings, we're beginning to do the Lucky Imaging now, and I know it's not for everyone, and we still need people to do the broad brush stroke to get the deeper fainter bits. Absolutely.
Was yours on the highest gain that you could for the camera, or 3/4 or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, Lucky Imaging, you look on the Flow website or wherever you bought the camera from. You look at where the read noise is lowest, and on my camera, I think the maximum gain is 400, and 350 is as good as 400. So I just did 350. But you absolutely do the highest that you can to get the lowest read noise. Yeah, because you're taking such short exposures. Did you
use bias frames at all?
So that's interesting. Yes, I found that I did. So these CMOS sensors, right, do have a disadvantage over the CMOS sensors, and that is they have fixed noise patterns. They're not as clean. They just aren't. So I took 1,000 darks and probably 1,000 bias as well. And when I stacked it, I did a flat as well, and I made a bad pixel map. When I stacked it, I felt like the darks and the bias were taken away from the signal, and so in the end, I just used my bad pixel map. But I think that, because I'm shooting in London Bortle 9 with such a big filter, a lot of the light is I'm losing a lot of the light to the filter. I don't know how definite that is. It's one thing to experiment with, but we have to be very careful.
I'm not so sure if at very short exposures, bias is counter.
Yeah.
Productive.
So bias was virtually the same as my darks. So I think I tried with just bias and no darks at one point. But yes, it's definitely something to talk about and think about for sure.
Darks probably won't make too much of a difference, since the exposure time isn't particularly long enough to gain a dark noise signal over that short time period, if I remember correctly.
Yes. No, it doesn't. They're almost nothing. I think if you look at it, it's like per second, it's like 0.00 something electrons. So really, you're right. I shouldn't. I don't know. I think I just wanted to cover every base, so I did do it, and then I ended up just using a bad pixel map.
It may be beneficial to attempt to use dark flats potentially as well to calibrate flat frames, much like you would say 1600 camera for your flats.
That's a really good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Because some cameras also have their bias still in that short exposure. You still also have that bias on some cameras that have amp glow, for example.
Wow, and I say this every week, but Space Cadet, for you to come out with a coherent sentence at 5 o'clock in the morning is truly amazing. And yes, dark flats sounds like a really good idea. I mean, one of my things is actually flats weren't very important because I cropped in quite a lot. And I just worry that sometimes our calibration frames could potentially take away from the signal. So, do we need them? It's all up for grabs. But yes,
I have the same camera, and I do flats and dark flats, but not bias and dark frames because. I did many tests, and you get less signal to noise ratio at the end. So I measure the signal to noise ratio. And,
what do you think about using? So that's really cool that you've done the test. What do you think about using a bad pixel map?
I do use the darks just with a sigma very high in pixel insight, just to identify hot pixel and cold pixel. So I think I use sigma 5.
Thing. Yeah, okay.
And basically I cut all the very let's say layer pixel, but I do not subtract any bias or anything is sigma less than 5.
Okay.
So basically just the hot pixel and the black pixels.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very interesting. Good. Very good. I mean, I think we've got, essentially, there's a lot of things to discover, and that's one of the joys of the BAT with this. And it seems fairly clear that we can lose signal with our darks and biases, which is interesting.
I think that's why dithering is also an area that we're trying to figure out how to incorporate, specifically with Lucky, because the software isn't configured for it, at least the ones that we're using. Yeah, absolutely. And it might be that I think someone might have mentioned this. There's a couple of things, and I'm sure most of you will know this, is if you're not guiding, it's going to wander around a little bit anyway. Maybe that's kind of like automatic dithering. Also, we're shooting such short exposures. Is it possible, to have, say, Nina or some program controlling the mount and doing its own dithering thing, and just carry on shooting through the whole dither? Right, and the odd frame might be have trailing stars, but that's going to hit the dustbin pretty soon. It's almost not worth stopping shooting while you're dithering. So yeah, I think dithering is something that we need to get figured out, and it'd be a very, very good thing to do. Also, I think it'd be amazing, and it's going to be amazingly hard, but it would be amazing if we're able to set a full width half maximum of the stars, maybe 1.5, something like that, which I think Big Bertha can just about do. And people throw away all their subs that are above that, and then we start to get stacks, stack the stacks, so that all the noise on one camera is beginning to get cancelled out by the noise on another camera, and more stacking. So that's also very exciting. Yeah. Okay. I'm tempted to move on. Should we move on? Okay, we'll move on. So the next thing, new BAT target layout. Okay. So I've been doing a bit of work. We've had BAT mods doing lots of wonderful work as well. So one of the things was that Elucin was able to give us cutoff dates for the various targets. Oh, sorry, you're still stuck on that. How do I get you to see what I'm doing?
Okay, yes, you can just about see it, I think. So hopefully you can see the BAT targets. We've got cut-off dates. Essentially, M27 is now gone beyond its cut-off date. I don't know that we've got a final process, but cut a long story short, there's the target, the BAT targets channel has just grown a bit. So rather than just saying we're shooting M27, there's also information about the cut-off date. There's also a link where you upload your data. There's a link for downloading data. There's a little section which is data we need more of, where us BAT mods and people can feed back to the images. You know, we need more HA and whatever. And there's a status update just saying where we're at. So that's now the BAT targets channel has grown a bit, and there's more information on our targets, including a cut-off date. So that's great. The other thing I wanted to mention that we've done is, yeah, I just got to figure out how to do it. Oh, does someone want to say something? No? Okay, so the other thing I want to figure out is the BAT download folder. Oh, I'm really confused now. What are you guys looking at? You're not looking at the BAT download folder, I don't think. Come on, brain. What have I got to do? I've got to find it. Here we go. Okay. Whew. Right, BAT download folder now. If you open up BAT download folder, can you see BAT download, by the way? Have I got it right?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, cool. So if you open up, say, downloading M16, and this is work done by Maria and Skilled Spark. Skilled Spark, I should introduce as a new BAT mod who's recently joined us and is particularly helping with kind of like the getting these download folders not sorted so much as I don't know, keeping on top of them and also feeding back data that we need and making sure everything flows smoothly, because we also have Paranoid Ninja and Philippe as well who are helping keep everything organized. So anyway, I don't need to go into their roles exactly for you guys here, but what's happened is that down below, can you see it? I don't know whether you can. Come on. Oh, it's not showing you. Just below here, which I can't seem to show you, is a master reference frame. How do I get you to see it? Oh, I don't know. It's beyond me. But if you go there, you'll see below this is a master reference frame. Actually, we've got master reference frames in the upload folder as well. So maybe it's just easier if I just go there. So M16 upload folder. There, you've got upload instructions and a master reference frame. So this master reference frame is when you shoot M16 or whatever you're shooting, you can check, you can star align your stack to this master reference frame. And if you do that, then the very clever BAT mods will, and actually some of the BAT members as well, because I've given some of the BAT members full access to the upload download folder. Essentially, if you are, you know, not an axe murderer and you're helping with the BAT and you're uploading and stuff, and you know what you're doing, you'll get full access to. But essentially, once you've aligned your stack, it will end up going in this aligned stacks folder, which is just an absolute joy for the processors, because now us processors don't have to spend 25 hours going through everything and aligning every single one of these stacks for all the different channels. We can now just download them all and they're all going to line up perfectly with each other, and we can get processing, which is brilliant. So I want to thank Maria and I want to thank Skilled Sparks for getting that sorted. And I think, hopefully, I'm nearly done with my yabbering on. Yes, that's it from me. Excellent. So does anyone have any questions on that little section? So the improvements that we've made to the BAT?
I believe so. 1 second. Sorry, I'll get my notes up.
Okay. Uh-oh, he's got notes.
With the master reference frames, I noticed when I was editing NGC 73331. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Nearly. I think.
I noticed that close enough. I noticed that the master reference frame had a pixel scale of approximately 1 arc second per pixel. When I used PixInsight to register to that master reference frame, it also made the subsequent integrations at the same resolution. And if we want to, I suspect we may want to reduce the pixel scale.
You're quite right.
In order to try and.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get where I'm going.
Yeah. Is SkillSparks here?
I am hoping to, if I have the time over the next couple of days, to try and make another one to replace it.
So actually,
and see if that makes a difference.
So what I need to do, so Maria did 2 different master reference frames. She did a master reference frame that was taken from actual data, right? Which is what we've ended up using. She also did what's the word? Maria, if you're there, you'll help me out. What's it called? A simulated...
A synthetic. I just called it synthetic.
A synthetic reference frame, right? And it might be, and we did some tests, and the genuine, the actual data reference frame worked just fine. It's slightly better, I think, but almost nothing in it, according to SkillSparks, if I remember right. But it might be that the synthetic reference frame might have a more malleable pixel scale. In which case it would be really nice. What should we say, like 1/4 of an arc second per pixel, something like that? Is that what we want?
It's that balance you get between making a decision of what the pixel scale is and then how many what the actual dimension of the image ends up being, right, and the crop that you want to get from it. So I was trying to get a balance between what the typical focal length that a lot of people will have, sort of maximum, minimum, and putting something in the middle there, right? And there's going to be a trade-off between, some people we will end up interpolating and some people we won't be. And it's just trying to come up with a happy medium. And we're not going to get it right for every scenario, but I'm happy to sort of iterate on it.
So I mean, I'm gonna actually push that we have at least half an arc second per pixel. Because if Mr. Crazy Physicist his full width half maximum is about 1 second, then really every pixel needs to be at least half an arc second in order to get his data working, possibly smaller. So we're going to have to, even if it does create a big file, I think we're going to have to go maybe even 1/4, something, we can discuss it. But 1/2 or 1/4 arc second is what we're going to need to do in order to pull out that detail that we need. Because we're going to be able to get a little bit more detail when we start using wavelets and stuff like that. But we can figure that out. And I think we should actually get SkillSparks onto it and Maria. But probably it's SkillSparks' jobs. And he's in India, by the way. So I think it's like 1 a.m. right now, something like that. But I would chat to him. A very good point. Thank you, Space Cadet. Anyone else got any more while we're talking about the upload download stuff? I mean, it is brilliant that we've got it. Okay, and it's a big move forward. And thank you everyone for helped. Thank you everyone who helped, particularly Maria, who really pushed that forward. I'm not going to read that. I can't read and talk at the same time. That will be the end of me. So the next thing on the agenda is Bat Mods Take the Floor. Hey Bat Mods, have you got anything that you want to report while I try and get the right frame on the little panel next to me? So who have we got in? Elucin, all good?
I
Nick?
guess I will throw something up, just for discussion's sake. Thanks for the folks who've filled out the survey for location. Share my screen.
Okay.
Here's just an updated BAT member chart showing how we've got things going. Here's the EU. A couple more folks who registered in the EU, so that's helpful.
Is it possible to change the dots? Because they are really hard to spot.
Yeah, it's actually kind of tricky. I can attempt it, but you just have to recognize this is a meaningless thing that I've done. So yeah, there you go. Let's change the dots. So don't ignore the color and the size of the dots, because what the dots in this case are showing are latitude. I'm just using that for this to show it. So yeah, and we started to get some folks in Canada, so that's good. I think we have about 50 registered members thus far on here.
Awesome.
And this will be a good enough sample for us to start using it to optimize BAT targets using this data.
Awesome. Brilliant. Oh, I've lost. Has anyone else lost Elucin, or have I?
I'm here. I just stopped sharing because that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah. Okay. I assumed I'd pressed the wrong button. Brilliant. Yeah. So, are you able to put another link for folk in the BAT chat text, so that and just to reiterate, you don't put your exact coordinates in because people are worried about, rightly so, worried about sharing data. But if you do it to one decimal place, your longitude and latitude, that's kind of like an area of, 100 miles or something. So I don't think anyone will be able to come knocking at your door with that information. Good. Thanks, Elucin. Thanks, Nick. Sorry, do you actually remember your real name, which is good for me, because I'm terrible with names. Anybody else here? Being as you're able to talk, Space Cadet, is there anything you wanted to bring up while you're with us? Or no?
No, nothing that I can really bring up that isn't already been spoken about that I could think of. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward. I would just like to say that I'm looking forward to maybe getting I haven't heard from Dogface about the website. I know he was heading. It was in progress. It was amazing, but I haven't actually got an update on that lately. But we are still hoping to get the Big Gamma's Telescope website up and running. We should probably post a definitive M16 shot and then get everyone to share it around social media so that we get more and more people joining the BAT. I am finding the BAT is taking up a lot of time for me, and I'm sure, and I know lots of other people as well. And this is a bit tricky for me because I actually need to make videos in order to earn money. But I am hoping that the BAT becomes a video, so in that way it does end up paying for itself, so I can justify the time. So I really hope some people will be able to make it whenever the sky's clear to wherever we decide to shoot. That would be brilliant. All right, the last item on the agenda is just open floor. Does anyone want to say anything? Ask a question or make a point or suggest something?
Have you decided on any filters yet?
No, I'm holding off buying filters for the moment. I've got some 1 1/4 inch filters, so I'm just gonna use them. It's not. I've had to buy a few things. It's not a time for me to be getting, because I think I'd like to get the really expensive filters, the Astrodons, but we might have to wait a little while for them, I think. Did someone say we lost the stream? We've lost the video stream.
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, bollocks. So if that happens, just stop me, because that's not good. Oh, how do I get it back? Is it really still gone?
It's the Discord stream that's not. You're not sharing on Discord.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. Thank you. Oh, so okay. Great. Thanks for checking YouTube, guys. Much appreciated. So you'll be able to see my OBS skills on YouTube, but I'm afraid you weren't able to view them on Discord. So anyone got anything that they want to suggest? Talk about?
I did have one question, just maybe because I don't know all the new people. There's lots of new people, etc. And I know we've covered this in previous talks. But who do I talk to get a bit more help with, I don't know, dealing with collimation or getting my scope up to spec, etc. Is there some way to just go and find who's the best person to reach out to for XYZ?
Okay, so yes, the guys in I know there's a bigger point actually, which is we're not so the purpose of the BAT isn't necessarily to teach everyone how to. Not that you need teaching particularly. Seemed to me, Maria, you've got one of the best collimated scopes that we have, actually. But just in general, I think it's hard, being as everyone's working for free, to expect that people can come here and get continuous lessons on how to image. That's not necessarily the purpose of the BAT. The BAT is here to take your images and use them to make incredible shots, right? But at the same time, there's lots of very clever people here and we do want to help. It's just that we can't necessarily help everyone all the time, and it does depend on what level you're at. The Test My Scope channel is a good place to ask the BAT mods about that kind of thing. Ryan, who is in Australia, was really hot on this. He's basically they've been in lockdown in Sydney and his work has just gone boom. And he hasn't really been able to participate as much as he was. He was just doing an immense amount. And I'm happy to say that we've got folks like Ewan and Roland who've really carried on the great work. I think Stefan's been doing stuff as well in the Test My Scope channel. So Test My Scope channel is a good place to go for collimating and all that kind of stuff. I'd say Ryan seemed to be the man with the software that could really precisely figure out what was going on with your scope, but Roland also is very good. He spotted something wrong with Big Bertha. I thought it was just because my Big Bertha's got a single spider vein, right? It's like that right through the middle, and the stars have a spike just above and below, nowhere else, right? And I thought that was the reason that my stars were slightly misshapen. And Roland called it. He said, no, something weird's going on. And it turned out the secondary mirror had slipped in exactly the same angle as the spider vein, and it was accentuating everything. So he was very good as well, Roland. So yeah, the guys in Test My Scope, they're the ones to ask. We also have I think. If I can show you in Watch This Next channel below, there's a list of all the BAT mods and what they do. So that's there as well, and that list should be copy and pasted and pinned somewhere else, but I can't for the life of me remember where that somewhere else is. So yes, is that okay, Maria? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it's just a general question.
Yeah, and I think it's
it
good.
Might help everybody.
Yeah, very good. I think it does.
One more. Yeah, real quick, Rory, tell me again, please, what that filter you were using with Lucky Imaging with 1 second exposures in London?
So it's the STC duo band filter. it's similar to the L Extreme filter, but older. And I think it cost like twice as much when I got it as the L Extreme. I think the L Extreme is brilliant. Yeah. So duo-band filter. So mostly it's used with OSC cameras. I just happen to be using it as a way to penetrate London's murk. And I didn't have I probably should have used a hydrogen alpha filter. Actually, I would have got a lot more, a lot less signal, but a lot more contrast. Yeah.
You were using that with your mono camera, correct?
Yeah, well, I've got a mirror camera, you see, so I don't really have to worry about the red light and blue light not focusing in the same place or anything. So yeah, I was using it with a mono camera. It was just, I'm just testing stuff out. I'm in Bortle 9. I can't do luminance. The sort of nearest thing I can get to luminance was using this rather extreme light pollution filter, generally designed for OSC cameras. Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I have one more. If somebody has a one-shot color camera, I do. Is that going to be useful in terms of sort of lucky imaging? Do you think? Do you think there's much? Do we invest the time to try and submit something as one-shot color?
I mean, off the bat, I've got to be brutal here. I think no. I think no. I know that's harsh, but you've got an 8-inch f4, yeah?
Yeah.
And what's the pixel size of your one-shot color?
Oh, it's a 183. It's 0.62 arc seconds per pixel.
And the size of the pixels, like 3 or something, is it?
2.4.
2.4, right? So,
yeah, they get doubled up. They get doubled up because it's a color camera, isn't it? Don't they?
Well, but the pixels themselves, so the little pixel that's underneath the little mini green filter, it's just getting the green photons, isn't it? So it's getting a third of all. It's getting a third of the number of photons as what a luminance, a mono pixel would get. Yeah. And I'm afraid that's because Lucky Imaging is really extreme. I think losing 2/3 of your photons in every pixel just doesn't make it viable.
You end up throwing a lot away, isn't it? Or you just end up being very noisy, I guess.
Just even more noisy. We're already extremely noisy.
Yeah.
You'll end up having to take longer subs essentially. So your subs will have to be 3 times as long to get the same number of photons.
Okay.
So where I'd be shooting a second, you'd be shooting 3 seconds. I think it's probably worth trying if you're interested, but whether it'll end up making the final stack, I don't know.
Maybe it's worth a try with the monobin. So you basically glue together 4 pixels in one monochrome pixel.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Interesting.
But you quadruple the size of the pixel.
Yeah.
I mean, SharpCap will actually take the video in a mono channel. So on the fly, it will take the luminance from the green, red, and the blue, and effectively populate your original 4 pixels with a luminance signal. Now, it'll give the contrast, but, it's dubious. I mean, I've resigned myself now to doing as high a resolution, broad brush, if you like, at a good image scale, because I tried Lucky Imaging and I can't get down to anything like 1 second. You just no photons.
Yeah, I mean, unless I think you're right, and unless you can go into the sensor and scrape off those, what is it, the biomatrix, you're going to get a third. Whatever you do, you'll get a third as you get 2/3 less or whatever the mass is as many photons as a mono camera.
That's all right. I'm just looking for excuses to buy a new camera. That's
this is a good excuse. And I mean, maybe the 178 is. I think that's a fantastic mono camera, and it would work well with your f4 scope. That's what I used on the 700 versus £7 million scope thing, the 178. And I know actually Tomato uses a 178 camera with his 150mm Esprit, and he's one of the sharpest Lucky Images. He's one of the sharpest imagers here, and it's about, with your setup, it'll be, you know, you won't need to crop it, that's for sure, but it'll be about the right size for the bat and the kind of images we're taking, you know. So yes, interesting. Another good question. Any more for any more? I should look in the text channel actually, shouldn't I? Yes, astro shopping is good therapy, although it can go a bit far. One can get carried away quite quickly.
Yeah.
I spent 300 quid on a filter wheel for my camera, and I just don't, you know, I know I will need it, but I haven't used it yet. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap things up, unless someone, what time is it? We've got a few more minutes. If anyone wants to ask another question, they can. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate the work. Particularly, what really pleased me was the processors who came through on M16. I just think some of those things that got that people did are just amazing, and what's really, because it takes a long time to process these things, and one of the things that was holding us back was we didn't have enough processors processing M27, but it seems that more people are coming through now, and it means that hopefully when we get these, when we Twitter and whatever social media these things, and actually we need to get our stuff on Astrobin as well, don't we, and maybe even Flickr, if anyone's interested in looking into that side of things, then you know, we'll get more and more people joining, and then and we're going to need it. We're going to need a lot of people for this to work fully, but it's going very, very well at the moment. And I just thank you everyone who's pitched in. It's been brilliant. Alrighty, so I'll say goodbye, and please do hang around and chat to each other or whatever have you. I know some people do, and that's always nice. So yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
I'm
See you later.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Adios.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
All right, I'm going
Bye,
now.
adios.
Oh no, more people say goodbye. I'm not going yet. Bye. Thank you for coming. Alrighty, I'm off too. Thanks, guys. Take care. All right. Cheers. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.